Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for another chapter of Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. Yona of the Dawn, chapter 235. Damn, this is a good chapter. I think we're eating pretty good, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you feel it? Don't you feel it? It's like Christmas came early with a feast. We got a feast of a chapter because we get Hawk. We get, like, if you guys are invested at all into the South Kai characters, I would argue that the ones you're invested in the most would be Eye Patch Dude, the name begins with an H. I'm very bad with the names, remembering names. General Ra'an, and of course Val. Like, these are the people you're probably most invested in. Sure, from a villainous standpoint, you might be invested in Chaogol a little bit, but I would argue these are the ones you're most invested in. So we're eating good with that. We're eating good with the Thunder Beast. The Thunder Beast is here, showing his hilarity, but his murderous nature, his menacing. This dude is taking them lightly. He's in the middle of the main enemy camp, and he's just like, alright, time to fight off a whole battalion by myself. Sounds like a Tuesday. Boom! And we're eating good with the Thunder Beast. And then we get the thing. Because a lot of people said, I saw a couple people on the Yona Discord, which once again, guys, I don't want to self-promote on there. If you guys want to promote my videos on the Yona Discord, that'd be fantastic. But I just feel like it's sort of like, I don't know, not sleazy, I don't know what the word is, but I don't like to self-promote. So if you want to share my videos on the Reddits and the Discords and all that stuff, then it's not self-promotion, then it looks fine. But yeah, I just, you know, one of those. But anyways, I was going through the comments of the last chapter and the chapter before that, and I was also going through the Reddits and the Discords, and there's a surprising number of people, which I don't know where this theory stemmed from. I don't get the idea, but there's a surprising number of people, not a majority, but they think that Chaogol is somehow related to King Hiryu. Because of the only evidence I could find is because Zeno reacted to Chaogol like he reacted to soo-won. And I would argue that, and now it's confirmed why in this chapter. So I believe that all of those people's theory is wrong, and I believe that my theory was wrong. But my theory was simply, Buddy was standing there as a ninja in the shadows, and nobody noticed, and Zeno was like, wait, I sense a presence. Bam! There's an evil assassin dude. You know, I didn't think it had anything to do with the fact that he was a dragon, or that Chaogol was special or related to the dragons, or King Hiryu, or the Crimson Dragon illness, or any of that shit. I thought it was simply nobody was noticing a fucking murderous intent up standing on a tent pole, you know? Which may or may not have somewhat been the case, but we get the confirmation in this chapter, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. But I always like to try to do these in order, but that's what I'm saying. I just wanted to open up with this. We have 3 sections of this chapter to truly talk about, in my opinion. But I think they'll also end up quick. The fact of the matter is that Val is not seen, and at first I was sort of miffed at that idea. I was sort of miffed at the idea that, like, I understand it's really dark and stuff like that, but if Ra'an can clearly notice Hawk, like, bright as day, how does he not notice Val in the back and stuff like that? Like, really, it's so dark you can't notice that? And I'm like, alright, fair enough, but I found it kind of, not cheesy, but just, like, convenient. It was plot convenient that, of course, the generals, they won't notice Val, he'll be in shadow, his back is turned, this, that, and the other thing, right? But it's all cleared up by the end of the chapter, so I don't mind. If it had continued that way, maybe I would have had a bit of an issue. But so far, everything going solid. So, Hawk and Ra'an have quite an interesting relationship already. Ra'an admires and respects Hawk to almost a fault. And, I mean, we, of course, our boy is Hawk. We all know as a community, Hawk is well, he's the Thunder Beast. He's our man. But for Ra'an to acknowledge it in this, I really like this dynamic. I want to see more of them interacting, because Ra'an as a general respects Hawk's superior skills as a warrior, respects his tenacity, respects a lot of things about him. So it's very, really interesting. So they try to light torches and try to figure this out. And I love that without killing them, Hawk just glaive. And just all the torches just cut right off. You know, it's reminded me of that thing when the whole idea is cut the flames of it, like create the wind, but don't actually cut the candle, cut the air around it so the flame goes out, sort of idea. I love the skill there to not hurt anybody, but cut all the torches so nobody can see what's going on. And the South Kai soldiers actually start attacking each other, which I find it's a little dark, but it's realistic. It's realistic. They know that there are intruders in the camp. They just witnessed them. There's chaos on the battlefield. They were bottlenecked. The Koka Kingdom army is on the hillside and their army is out there fighting. So these soldiers are in disarray. They're nervous. It's the dead of night. They have no idea what's going on. And they're like, well, I'm not going to die. And they start, you know. So this is the chaos. This is actually very realistic. So I kudos there, because didn't have to happen. Would never have broken the story or immersion whatsoever. But that little inclusion, kudos. Kudos to that. So Ra-an, of course, tries his best to attack them, and he didn't reach them. So he does, and this is what I like, both times in the chapter. Ra-an thinks he saw Val, but he's disbelieving it. He thought in that quick moment of light that he thought he saw Val. And he said, that's impossible. It couldn't have been Val. Why would he be with the intruders, etc., etc. So then we have the idea that Val and the princess should try their best. Like Yona and Val have actually a nice moment. Like Val's starting to understand Yona a little bit, because Yona was the one, of course, in the last chapter to get in front of Val when Ra-an showed up. And Yona, like Val explains it like, hey, I'm not, like, he's not disrespectful either. Like, a woman is getting in my way, you know, in the battlefield. He's just saying, look, I can hold my own. I'm a warrior. Don't step in front of me in battle. I don't want you to get hurt. Like, you know, you don't do something stupid. Don't be crazy, right? He's just concerned about the safety, the danger. And she goes, well, yeah, but these are your friends and family. Like, these are your companions, your comrades. If we can get to Mei Nian, her idea, Yona's idea is sort of similar to, if anybody's read One Piece, a lot of people have, of course, Vivi and Alabasta, but done a little, not that Vivi's a great character. Always been a Straw Hat as far as I'm concerned. But Vivi, spoilers for One Piece, has this same mentality, this naivete. I always like saying it like that, even though I think that's the wrong pronunciation. I don't know. I think it's a joke pronunciation. But Vivi is naive, and Luffy has to point that out to her, basically, because her country's at war, and she thinks that nobody has to die. And Luffy's like, that's naive as fuck. People are going to die. We might save this country. We might win the war. But in war, people die. Innocent people. People that shouldn't have died. But they're already at war. We're not here to prevent a war. We're here to end a war that's already started. Like, don't be so naive, you know, about this. And Yona is sort of doing the same idea, but to a lesser degree. Once again, that was a great scene with Vivi and stuff, so I'm not shitting on Vivi and Luffy in that scene. But in this scene, it's a similar concept. It reminded me heavily of that, because Yona's saying, like, if we can get our objective here, we're at war, but our sole objective is to go get Mei Nian and get the fuck out of here. If we can avoid battle, period, that's great. You know, that's ideal. Maybe it won't happen, but it's ideal. And also, if we can prevent you from having to fight or even kill any of your former comrades, like, I'd rather you didn't fight them, because that's not fair. Like, even in the midst of a battlefield. And, you know, it's like, but she does acknowledge, and this is why it makes Yona a great character, she does acknowledge that, however, maybe you've steeled yourself and stuff, and I didn't mean to insult you or anything like that. Like, I apologize for that. So Val is taken aback by this, but it's a very interesting. It's certainly a very interesting dynamic between those two, right? Because there's all the parallels between Yona and Mei Nian and Val and Hawk, but it's nice to see the differences here because I don't think Mei Nian would say something like this. I would argue that they wouldn't have this conversation, you know what I mean? Because Val knows Mei Nian better and so it's quite interesting. Also, a little bit of I would argue, an error. The little how on the shoulder, Mei Nian's squirrel, is on Yona's shoulder in the first panel, and then on the second panel is comfortably on Val's shoulder. Now, of course, the squirrel quickly dropped, but where they're running like this, where they're jogging at a good pace, why would the squirrel, you know what I mean? So I think that's, maybe it's not, like, once again, it's a nitpick, but I'm like, wait a minute, why and when? You know, this conversation is happening within 3 sentences, and the squirrel jumps shoulders. Odd. But anyways, we get a great shot of clearly Val, Ra-an, and Hye, whatever, the general with the eye patch general, who seems to be like the de facto leader of the generals, or the wisest, most wizened and battle-hardened general. They all seem to be good friends. We get this memory shot of them sitting around, you know, campfire style, eating, you know, laughing, joking, carrying on. So he's like, you know what, she maybe has a point. I'd really not want to meet them. Like, if I can avoid fighting them directly and still get Mei Nian, that's what I'm going to do. So I don't think Val really thought about this. Yona has already thought about Val's feelings before Val could even recognize them. So once again, kudos to Yona there. So yeah, so we move on from there, and they acknowledge the Dromos and all that stuff, and that Mei Nian is probably here, and then we see that the Dromos is still fleeing, but jae-ha is fucking coming at him, you know, knives, shuriken, boom, boom, boom. It's like all 4 dragons are going at this guy, and he does take a hit. This guy can only dodge jae-ha at best, but then does take a hit, and then Kija just grabs him and it's like, all right, slam. And it's like, all right, you're a Dromos. You are not any match for, even though he's a slippery son of a bitch, these guys are pressuring him like crazy. He is running, and he's running for a reason. And so then Zeno, he ends up getting behind Zeno. Well, I'm not sure if, realistically, I think it's supposed to be the same one, but it's very odd that he simply, like, boom, teleports right behind even Zeno. Like, it's very creepy, this shadow sneak attack that they seemingly do, because Zeno is looking directly at this guy and then phoom, don't move. And it's like, okay, wait a minute, what? Not that it matters because it's fucking Zeno. So when he's like threatening him, Zeno just stabs his own arm down, grabs him, and throws him to the goddamn ground. He already gets the dragon by ripping his arm to shreds. He gets the dragon power, and slam, you're down to the count. It's like, all right, hell yeah. So this is the thing that we really need to talk about. This is the big thing, is because it proved me wrong and it proved everybody else wrong, because we don't know about this. Zeno seems to know something, and I'm curious because jae-ha comes and says, Zeno, you're right. And Zeno is scared. Zeno is shocked. And Zeno shocked has got to be one of the most unnerving things. Like, I read this chapter this morning while on my way to work. And, I mean, it was early in the morning and stuff, but reading this chapter and this look of dread, this look of shock, Zeno wide-eyed is freaky. It's scary. You know, because it's like, uh-oh. You sort of feel that, like, if Zeno's not happy, there's what's going on? What's going on? What's going to happen? Who died? You know what I mean? It's sort of that dreadful, like, you ever get a voicemail phone call or something like that? It's like, please call us back, or please come home right away. The only time I ever got that phone call, the only time I ever got the whole, hey, how you doing? None of that. It's like, where you at? Well, you better make your way home. Click. It was when my grandmother died. Right? And, you know, so the feeling of dread of those phone calls, right? And in the same stretch, have you ever had a voicemail that was it sounded ominous, and you were like, and you sort of had some anxiety or a little bit of stress over it. It was sort of like, okay, why are they calling me? And why did they leave me such a vague voicemail? Like, if it was something major, why wouldn't they just tell me? Like, hey, call me back, somebody's been in a car accident. Like, you assume the worst. Who's in the hospital? Who got in a car accident? Who died? That's why I never liked the vague voicemails. I've never left one myself. I refuse to do so. Always tell what the reason for your call was, please, people. Because even if most people don't use phone calls anymore, because this is that same sort of similar feeling I got when I looked at this page. I was like, what the hell is going on with Zeno? Like, what is wrong? And then, boom, we get the realization that Zeno is inner monologuing himself. He's like, why am I holding on so desperately to this guy? And he's just like, huh. And then this asshole, now, once again, this could be Chow Gol himself. We don't know for certain. But he's like, are you the legendary four dragons? Blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, and jae-ha acknowledges this dude's pretty crazy himself. He's like, you managed to dodge all my kicks and shit. You're pretty amazing yourself. Are you really even human? And this is what's going to lead people to believe, once again, that maybe this guy is related in some way. I don't think so. I think Zeno's got the right of it, because Zeno would know. And then he says, green, blue, white dragon, how are you feeling? And we see jae-ha and Kicha are feeling extremely good, even though they're so far. Hiryu Castle burned. They nearly, it seemed like they were almost dying. The shrine is destroyed or gone from what they understand, or in flames, or was in flames. They are still far from the border, because we know how all these things, but they're like, yeah, we're actually feeling really, really good. Zeno remarks, we're recovering too quickly. Just because we're around the Little Miss and we're not in close proximity to her right now, we can't even see her. So if the Little Miss might be able to keep us at a stable condition, but we shouldn't feel this good. We shouldn't be recovering this quickly. So then Zeno remarks, Hideo Castle was burnt. We should be more, and then thinks about it, and then says, what have you taken? And this makes me believe that this guy is Chow Gol, because Chow Gol, once again, all the Dromos were there, but why would one of the Dromos that wasn't Chow Gol take something? So this is the big theory. It's theory time. What did you take from the underground of Hideo Castle? And the dragons are shocked, and Zeno's waiting for a goddamn explanation. But if he did take something, I wonder why Zeno didn't just crush his fucking head right there and then search his goddamn body. But apparently he took something from the shrine. Is there ashes of King Hideo down there? Like, the only thing I can think of, because of course Zeno has the medallion right here, right? The only thing I can think of that would be down there would be the ashes of King Hideo himself, right? I can't think of anything else. What did he take that's making the dragons react? That's interesting. So anyway, he ends up getting away. Another Dromos is there apparently, so I'm not sure which. So once again, it seems like maybe there were two Dromos. But now it seems like they're, well, I'm not 100% sure on that one. Either way, another Dromos shows up and manages to somehow get Zeno off of him, but this guy gets away and he's got help, and so Zeno is chasing them. He gets stabbed, of course, but of course Zeno is not going to feel the effects. However, what did he take? And his healing is still working. So if he's just stabbing him normally, Zeno will recover no problem, of course. So, but Zeno seems to be on the ground and not able to get back up right now. So I'm not sure if this is implying that there's something wrong with his immortality right now. But that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because all their powers are working just fine. In fact, they're feeling better than they should. That's the whole suspicion thing. So what I think right now is that Zeno knows what they took, or he assumes he knows what they took, and he's like, oh, for fuck's sakes. and we need to get that back. So he's very worried about this. So Zeno gets stabbed. Zeno's probably fine. Zeno mentions we have to catch him. We have to catch him right now. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. The soldiers are coming and stuff. Zeno. And then they're like, all right. So they move on from that. Next chapter, let's keep up with the Zeno. Let's keep up with our guy. Because if Hawk is not our boy, it's got to be Zeno. Zeno, who loves the Mister and his little miss. So let's do this. I really enjoyed this part. I really loved it. I thought it was great. I think it's a great new question. You know, people complain about things like One Piece and stuff like that because it's so long and there's so many questions that have not been answered for so many years. And yeah, sometimes you leave a plot thread going way too long. But in this particular instance, most of our questions have been answered. Lore-based, dragon-wise, etc. Adding a new, wait a minute, into the goddamn, into the fan base just to topsy-turvies and fuck us all up. I like it. I really do. I think this is good. And then the end part, we get that Val is going to move on and stuff like that. Val is going to run and try to find Mei Nian. And so Hawk says, well, I'll stay behind. I've come this far. Use me as basically a decoy. Tells the princess to wait. And Val's going to go get Mei Nian. And Hawk is going to be the distraction. And we have a nice little moment between them. Then we get a great moment with Hawk. Hawk just standing there by one of the soldiers. Yeah, so looks like we're surrounded by the Coca Kingdom Army out there. Yeah, and intruders. Intruders are here too. Yeah. I mean, why keep the general at a time like this? Yeah. Seriously. Have a beer. And then they notice. They're like, wait, who are you? How long have you been there? But he's been standing there the whole time. He's like, I sneaked in. And then they're like, it's the intruder. He's right on our island. Gather the troops. And he's like, hey, I'll kill anyone who moves, just so you're clear. And they're wondering where the companions are. And Hawk's like, all right, all of you come at me. I'm the best distraction. And then you can get her out of here, Val. Right? And so he starts attacking the soldiers. And, of course, Hawk's winning with ease. So Val acknowledges Hawk as he's the real deal. He's the man. He's the myth. He's the legend. He's the Thunder Beast. And it's like, all right, cool. Val, acknowledge your betters. Acknowledge your betters. You might be cool, but you're not Hawk cool. Okay? So he acknowledges everything about her, about him. He may be able to kill all the warriors here, no matter how strong they are. This man is a fucking menace. And I love Val's, like, everyone, and this is once again why we didn't like Yona's character during that very bad portion of the, I guess, the last arc or the beginning of this arc, was because Yona lost faith. Everybody, Zeno, Yona, the dragons, Val, his enemies, all acknowledge Hawk can't be killed by anyone. Hawk is fucking dangerous. Nobody kills Hawk. This man is too dangerous to, like, even the generals of the Coca Kingdom, Earth Tribe General, Gwen Tai, they all go, yeah, we're not fighting fucking Hawk. Fuck that, So that was one of the big reasons to dislike this, because Yona, for some reason, in the middle of a war, you can't kill Hawk. Like, just deadpan. Like, are you fucking kidding? Like, just no doubt in her mind. One arc later, she's like, oh my god, Hawk's going to be killed, Hawk's going to be killed, Hawk's going to be killed. Where is your faith, woman? Where is your faith? So, anyway, we're not talking about that shit. That's behind us now. But the fact of the matter is that this is just another acknowledgement of Hawk gets in. Yona might inspire people, but Hawk is right up there doing it. Hawk showcases his tenacity and the reason everyone respects him. Just all the time. Both friend and foe alike. He always does it. So now Val is, of course, worried that no matter his opponent, Hawk will win. And then he sees a visage, an image of his friend, the Eye Patch General, that begins with the H. I think it's H-A. I think it's Hoi Tan? Hoi Gwen? I forget. Anyways, so he thinks that Hawk would beat him too. And he's like, oh shit. So he runs back. And then, boom, because he hears that the general is on his way and something like that. And Hawk's like, oh, it is someone important and stuff. So he goes up to him, and Hawk's like, wait a minute. He said, over here, Mr. General, I'm right here. He's like, all right, I guess I gotta fight a general. And Val runs up, and Yona notices, Hawk notices, and he notices, and he just says, like, hey, like, because General Hai, I think it's Tan. I think it's Tan. Anyway, General Hai, I'm going to call him General Hai right now. General Hai is like, so Ra-an wasn't sure. It's clear as day here, and this is why I don't mind that at the beginning of the chapter, because it's like, Val is like, well, I thought you'd bid you one last farewell. And I'm like, it's nice to end on Val. Like, once again, the heart drop and the thump was when Zeno was like, what have you taken from Hiryu Castle? And it's like, wait a minute, what the fuck is he talking about? But this, jumping back to this to keep this going, adding pressure there, and Val is going to face his fears, so to speak, that was acknowledged at the beginning of the chapter, something he didn't consider, but now he realizes he can't let Hawk kill him. He doesn't want his friend to die, so he's going to be like, nope. Like, Hawk will probably kill him if he comes at him, so I've got to prevent my friend's death, you know what I mean? So, comrades in arms and all that stuff, brothers in arms, you gotta respect it, but Jesus Christ, man, well, Zeno isn't leaving until he finds that fucking Dromos, so... and I mean, I don't get why they don't just send Zeno in there and he does all the work. Why didn't he just literally murder everybody and then go get Mei Nian? There is no danger with Zeno. Zeno's immortal. There is no danger. I know that's callous, but technically speaking, there is... I know that's harsh and callous, and they would never agree to that plan, but there is literally no danger. Zeno has literally fought armies for thousands of years. He has fought entire armies on a battlefield and won. Not saying it's enjoyable for him, but if they really want to go get Mei Nian, he could literally just walk in and do it. So, with no risk. That's my point. With no risk. So, there is that tiny plot hole, but character-wise, it's not really a plot hole because they would never agree to Zeno being used in that fashion. Like, once again, Yona does not like to use the dragons. She doesn't like using them like that. So, it definitely fits character reasons, at least, why they would never agree to that plan. But, anyways, that's the review. I think it was a bit of a long one. I can already feel my throat, even with a couple sips of beer. So just let me say right here at the end, I think there's one more chapter coming before the end of the year. I think we're getting one. If we're not, then this is the Merry Christmas chapter. Yeah, so this is the Christmas, this is the December chapter. We might get one, but it might be after Christmas. It might be like I didn't check the dates. If not, it'll be in the new year and stuff. So this is the last chapter of 2022, potentially. So was it a good year of Yona? It was a roller coaster year of Yona. It was a bit of an up and down. I think we can all acknowledge that. Even if you guys disagree and with my opinions, and you guys and gals think like, oh well, there was chapters I didn't like, but there were ones you liked, etc., etc. I don't think anybody thought that this was the Yona year, right? Yona has had far better years, but this has been looking good for the last few months, right? So, ending off the year with this chapter wouldn't be a bad thing. The big shock reveal of there's something under in the shrine that they took. Once again, my theory is King Hiryu's ashes, because I can't think of anything fucking else it could be. And you know, the Happy Hungry Bunch together, the Dark Dragon and the Happy Hungry Bunch together again, is just really, really fucking nice. Even if Yon's not there, we've got enough. We got the groups together again, and we're going forward. The pacing has been perfect. I think we're still having the comedy, we're still having the moments, but we're not just like this entire chapter could have been about Val, Yona, and Hawk right now, but instead we spliced it in the middle with the dragon stuff just to keep us on our toes as we read the rest of the chapter. So I really like this chapter. I thought it was a very good chapter. And let me know what your theory is. What did what is Zeno scared of? What did they take, or what is he pissed off? He might not be scared that they took something. He might be pissed. Remember, if you drag up 2,000 years worth of feelings and this man is desecrating King Hiryu's remains. That man is pissed. Zeno about to go murder a whole army whether Yona thinks it's a good idea or not. So, yeah, I think now we're setting up Zeno putting the fear of God into goddamn Chao-Gol. He's just going to walk up to him and fucking, you know. I think now we know who's going to kill Chao-Gol, because I'm now under the impression that is Chao-Gol, and that was the Dromos. And, yeah, Zeno's after blood. He wants him. So, yeah. Anyways, so once again, Happy Christmas to everyone, of course, who celebrates it and stuff like that. And Happy New Year when we start 2023. I won't be able to do my 22 anymore. But, yeah, so, yeah, it's been a year. It's been a year. A lot of people don't really like 2022, but we're not here to talk about that. I didn't really care for 2022 myself. But as far as Yona goes, we seem to be heading into a better horizon, right? Ending off this year, jumping into the new year, it seems like Yona is going to get better, not worse, for sure. So that's always a good way to end off a year. So yeah, this was chapter 235 of Yona the Dawn. Hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I hope you guys have been enjoying Yona the Dawn this year. Let me know what chapter you guys liked best this year, and what chapter you didn't really like best this year in the comments down below. And let me know your theories on what did the Dromos take from the shrine under Hiryu Castle, because I have no idea. So let me know what you guys thought. Like, comment, and subscribe as always. This has been a long enough review. Ranted for 45 minutes. So, alright. We'll talk to you guys next time. It's only been 35. I'm doing good. All right. Have a good one. Drink responsibly as always. Have a happy Christmas and an even better New Year. Hope you guys are feeling inspired that 2023 will get us out of this. The manga will be great. The food will be better. And our lives will actually maybe get a little better next year. How's that? How's that for an inspiring speech from your host with the most, Griever, bringing you the last chapter of the year, I think, once again, of Yona of the Dawn! Hope you guys had a great year. And if you didn't, well, 2023 is right around the corner. So, alright. I really don't know how to end these things. God damn it. See, this is the problem when I talk too long. When I talk for over half an hour in a video, there's just too much to say. I never know how to end off yearly videos and yearly series and stuff. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, this is who I am. I'm a mess, and I don't script any of this shit. So, yeah. Have a good one. Happy Christmas.